Poor single mom's car declined at the store. Then the billionaire still said, "I will pay everything." The grocery store was packed that afternoon in downtown Seattle. Rain tapped gently against the glass windows while customers lined up with carts full of Thanksgiving groceries. Amid the chatter and the hum of the registers, Olivia stood still, her hands trembling as she swiped her worn-out debit card again. Beep, then silence. The cashier's polite smile faded. "I'm sorry, ma'am, it's declined." Her little boy, about 7, clutched a small box of cereal, his favorite, and looked up at her, whispering, "Mom, can we still get it?" Olivia's heart sank. She'd been working double shift at the diner and was counting on that payment clearing today. Behind her, people started shifting impatiently in line. And then a voice cut through the awkward silence. Deep, calm, certain. "I'll take care of it," the man said. Everyone turned. Standing behind her was a tall man in a navy coat, confident but kind-eyed, holding nothing but a cup of coffee. The cashier blinked. "Sir, you mean the entire bill?" He nodded once. "Everything. She doesn't need to worry about a thing." What would you do if a total stranger stepped in at your lowest moment? Tell us where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe, because tomorrow's story is one you won't want to miss. Your support helps us bring more powerful stories that touch the heart. Red Heart, the air inside the grocery store, seemed to freeze for a heartbeat. Olivia blinked twice, unsure she heard right. "Everything," she whispered. The man, Robinson, nodded calmly, pulling a sleek black card from his wallet. "Go ahead," he told the cashier. "Add her total to mine." People nearby had started whispering. Some smiled. Others filmed discreetly with their phones. The cashier, unsure whether this was some prank, hesitated until Robinson gave a small, reassuring smile. When the register beeped again, this time in approval, Olivia exhaled a breath she didn't realize she was holding. "Sir, you didn't have to do that," she said, her voice shaking. "I'll find a way to pay you back." "You don't owe me anything," Robinson replied gently. "Take care of your little one. That's enough." He picked up his coffee, nodded, and turned to leave before she could even ask his name. That night, Olivia sat in her small apartment on the outskirts of the city, the faint hum of traffic outside her window. Her son, Liam, was asleep on the couch, surrounded by grocery bags. The refrigerator, usually echoing with emptiness, was now filled for the first time in weeks. She stood there, staring at it. Tears welled in her eyes. "Who was that man?" she whispered to herself. In a world where kindness was rare, he had stepped in at her lowest moment, without knowing her, without asking for anything in return. She went to bed that night with a strange warmth in her chest, gratitude and curiosity. A week later, life continued, just a little lighter. Olivia went back to the downtown diner, where she worked long hours as a waitress. It wasn't glamorous, but it kept the lights on and Liam fed. That morning, as she tied her apron and adjusted her hairnet, the manager's voice came over the kitchen noise. "Olivia, new customer in booth 5, says he's waiting for someone. Handle that one yourself." She grabbed her notepad and walked out. Booth 5 was by the window, and there he was, the same man from the grocery store, Robinson. He looked different in the daylight, sharp, composed, wearing a navy suit and an air of quiet authority. He looked up, recognized her immediately, and smiled. "Small world," he said. Olivia froze. You're the man from the store." He nodded. "And you're the woman who tried to apologize for being human." She couldn't help but laugh softly, nervous and embarrassed. "I never got to thank you properly." "You already did," he said, setting down his phone. "How's your son?" "Happy," she replied, smiling for the first time in a long time. "And fed, thanks to you." He looked at her with a curious expression, one that saw past her worn-out uniform and tired eyes. "Good. I'm glad." She took his order, just black coffee, and walked away, but her hands were trembling again, not from fear this time, but something she couldn't name. Over the next few weeks, Robinson started showing up at the diner more often, always at the same booth, always polite, always asking for Olivia's section. The other waitresses noticed. "Girl, you got yourself a fan," one teased. Olivia would just shake her head. "He's just kind. That's all." But deep down, she wondered, why her? One afternoon, as she refilled his cup, she finally asked, "Why do you keep coming here?" He looked at her for a long moment before answering. "Because this is one of the few places in the city where people still smile like they mean it." She didn't know what to say. He continued quietly, "I run a company a few blocks away. Tech logistics, mostly. It's loud, fast, and full of people chasing numbers. But here," he gestured around, "it's real." Her eyes widened. "You're a business owner?" "Something like that," he said with a small smile. "It's not important." But it was. Because that moment, that quiet revelation, planted a seed that would change both of their lives. It wasn't long before Olivia's reality and Robinson's world collided again, unexpectedly and publicly. One morning, she received a call from Liam's school. He'd been invited to join a local science program, but there was a small tuition fee she couldn't afford. She tried everything, extra shifts, borrowing, even selling her old sewing machine. But it wasn't enough. That evening, as she wiped down tables at the diner, Robinson noticed her quiet tears. "What's wrong?" he asked softly. "It's nothing," she said, forcing a smile. "Just life being life." He didn't push, not then. But 2 days later, she walked into the diner to find an envelope on the counter with her name on it. Inside was a note. "For Liam, every kid deserves a chance to dream. R." And a check covering the exact amount she needed. Her eyes filled instantly. She ran outside, looking around for him, but he wasn't there. That night, she sat by Liam's bedside, whispering a prayer for the stranger who somehow seemed to show up exactly when they needed it most. Weeks turned into months. Robinson's visits became part of her life. He never overstepped, never asked for anything. But there was a sadness in his eyes Olivia couldn't ignore. One rainy evening, after closing time, she found him still sitting in his booth, staring out the window. "You look like someone who just lost a fight," she said softly. He chuckled, then sighed. "Maybe I did, a long time ago." When she sat across from him, he hesitated, then spoke. "I used to have someone," he said quietly. "She believed in people when I didn't. She used to volunteer at food banks, help strangers, even when she had nothing. I thought she was too soft, until I lost her in an accident 3 years ago." Olivia's chest tightened. She used to say, "When you can help, don't think twice." He glanced at her. "That's why I helped you that day. You reminded me of her, your strength, your way of protecting your boy." Tears burned Olivia's eyes. "I'm so sorry." He smiled faintly. "Don't be. You reminded me what kindness looks like again." A month later, Olivia got a call that changed everything. Her apartment complex was being sold, and all tenants had 30 days to leave. Panic set in. She couldn't afford another place on her pay. Desperate, she went to the diner manager for more hours, but they were cutting staff, not adding. That night, she sat outside on the curb, rain pouring down, her son asleep beside her. Her phone buzzed. It was Robinson. "I heard about the building," he said. "Where are you?" "Nowhere that matters," she whispered. Minutes later, a car pulled up beside her. Robinson stepped out with an umbrella, kneeling beside her. "Come on," he said softly. "Let's get you both somewhere safe." She tried to protest, but he stopped her gently. This isn't charity, Olivia. It's what people do for people they care about. Robinson drove them to a modest but warm home on the north side of the city. Stay here until you find something permanent, he said. It wasn't until later that night, as Olivia walked the quiet living room, she noticed a photo on the mantel, Robinson standing with a woman and a little girl. The same woman he had spoken about, and the girl she recognized from the diner. "Wait," she whispered. The girl had come in months ago with a babysitter. Smiling, full of life, the realization hit her. Robinson had been helping her not out of pity, but from a place of deep loss and healing. He wasn't saving her. He was saving himself. Morning light poured through the curtains of the small house Robinson had lent them. For the first time in months, Olivia woke without panic clawing at her chest. Liam was humming softly at the kitchen table, eating toast. The warmth of that moment, so ordinary, felt extraordinary. When Robinson stopped by later that week, Olivia greeted him with coffee she had brewed herself. "You didn't have to keep checking on us," she said. He smiled. "Maybe I needed to." There was a quiet pause between them, the kind that says everything words can't. He glanced around. "You've made this place feel alive again. My housekeeper used to complain it was too quiet." Olivia raised an eyebrow. "Your housekeeper?" He shrugged, a little sheepish. "I wasn't going to tell you, but yes, this used to be my guest home. I thought maybe it could hold a new story." Olivia wanted to repay him somehow. So when she learned the local grocery store was hiring a part-time stock assistant, she took it. She would come home exhausted. But she refused to lean on Robinson forever. One evening, she found Liam sitting beside Robinson on the porch. The two were working on a small model plane. Robinson looked up. "He tells me he wants to be an engineer." Liam beamed. Mr. Robinson said, "I can visit his company one day." Olivia's heart swelled. "That's generous." Robinson smiled at the boy. "It's not generosity, it's investment. He's got ideas." As the weeks passed, Olivia noticed something shift in Robinson. The man who once carried invisible weight now laughed more easily. He helped Liam with homework, fixed a broken chair, even showed up at the diner to drop off lunch for the staff. It wasn't romance. It was renewal. Two broken worlds quietly learning how to breathe again. Then came the day everything nearly fell apart again. Robinson's company, Artec Logistics, was under fire after a failed merger. News outlets swarmed his offices. Employees whispered that the CEO had disappeared. Olivia found out from a customer's newspaper while refilling coffee at the diner. Her chest tightened. That evening, she called, but his phone went straight to voicemail. 3 days passed. Then on the 4th, a black SUV pulled into the driveway. Robinson stepped out, tired, unshaven, suit wrinkled. "I thought you left," she said softly. "I almost did," he admitted. "I forgot what mattered for a moment. Then I remembered this place. You and Liam reminded me what I was building for." He sat heavily on the porch step. "When everything fell apart at work, I realized money doesn't keep you steady. People do." Olivia crouched beside him. "So what now?" He looked at her, eyes clear again. "Now I rebuild, with heart this time." That night, Olivia cooked dinner for the first time in the new house. They ate by candlelight after a storm cut the power. It wasn't fancy, just spaghetti and laughter, but for Robinson, it felt like redemption served warm. Months later, Robinson invited Olivia and Liam to his office for a small ceremony. "Why are we here, Mom?" Liam whispered. Before she could answer, Robinson stepped forward. "I want to introduce everyone to the reason I remembered why we started this company in the first place." He gestured toward them. "Meet Olivia and Liam, two people who reminded me that success isn't about numbers. It's about impact, He handed Liam a framed certificate, the first recipient of the R-Tech Youth Innovation Grant. The room erupted in applause. Olivia stood frozen, tears glimmering. Robinson leaned closer and said quietly, "You didn't need saving, Olivia. You just needed someone to see you." She smiled through her tears. "And you needed to be reminded you still had a heart." He nodded. "Looks like we both found what we were missing." Weeks later, as Olivia locked up the diner after another long day, a woman approached her at the door. "Are you the one the CEO helped?" Olivia smiled. "I guess I am." The woman held up a grocery bag filled with baby formula. "My card just got declined at the store. Someone said to come here." The story of a declined card that turned into a second chance wasn't about money. It was about seeing someone when the world looks away. Kindness doesn't ask for headlines. It creates quiet ripples that touch lives we may never know. Robinson learned that wealth means little without purpose. Olivia learned that humility and strength often live in the same heart. And Liam? He learned what true generosity looks like and vowed to build a life that keeps paying it forward. Now we'd love to hear from you. What would you have done if you were in Robinson's place that day at the store? Tell us in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe, because tomorrow's story will touch your heart even deeper. Your support helps us keep bringing powerful, real-life stories that remind us one act of kindness can change everything.